All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, one of the first big trade dominoes of this National Football League season just dropped as the San Francisco 49ers today acquired running back Christian McCaffrey from the Carolina Panthers. In exchange for McCaffrey, San Francisco is sending a second, third, and fourth round pick in the 2023 NFL draft to Carolina, while they're also going to be sending a fifth rounder to the Panthers in 2024. Now, for my money, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, when McCaffrey is healthy, he's one of the best backs in the game. I mean, you go back to his 2019 season. That was the last season where he was healthy, and in that season, he had more than 1,000 yards rushing. He also had more than 1,000 yards receiving. Of course, the last 2 years have not been easy for McCaffrey as he was just limited to just 10 games due to injuries. But I'll tell you like this, from the 49ers standpoint, I love this trade. For me, I look at it. Number one, San Francisco is already a good running team. You know that Kyle Shanahan, the Niners head coach, is going to put McCaffrey in the best possible scenarios to succeed. The Shanahans and the McCaffrey families go back a very long way. You think back to when Kyle's dad, Mike, was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And of course, one of his starting wide receivers on those championship teams in the late 90s was Ed McCaffrey, Christian's dad. So I guarantee you, like these families know each other. Obviously, Kyle knows what Christian can and cannot do. And now the Niners are stacking the deck. And I say that from the standpoint that we've seen it in recent years where the good teams are making sure that they do everything possible to put the most athletes out there at the skill positions at the same time. This is what San Francisco is doing now because when this team gets healthy, you're talking about Christian McCaffrey at running back. You have Debo Samuel, who San Francisco lines up a lot in the backfield, but he's also a wide receiver as well. You think about Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver. You think about George Kittle at tight end. And of course, George Kittle is one of the better tight ends in the NFL. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You also think about the talent in this backfield for the 49ers with the likes of Jeff Wilson and Kyle Juszczyk as well. So it's a scenario where, okay, first and foremost, who do you double? And for me, from McCaffrey's standpoint, he's going to be in the best possible situation to succeed. And I think this can go back to how it was for him at Stanford when he got lined up sometimes a wide receiver, he was a running back, of course he was a kick returner and a punt returner. And if you want to know about the athleticism of Christian McCaffrey, of course, just go back and look at that Rose Bowl against Iowa that year. But nonetheless, I think his presence is going to open things up, not just for him, but also other players at the skill positions in San Francisco. They're getting some guys back. They have some injuries on the offensive line as well. And now, you've basically put your quarterback, Jimmy G, in that point guard scenario where, you know what, just get the football to these guys, plain and simple, get out of their way. I look at the Niners defense, they're going to be getting some guys back as well. And you look at this move, and in my opinion, I feel like this is a move, yeah, for the regular season, but I think this is a move for the playoffs because if you're the Niners, you've been so close in the last couple of years and you just have not been able to get over the hump. So let's see what San Francisco is able to do with this. But I think the change of scenery will really help McCaffrey. Going back to the Bay Area, of course, he played collegiately at Stanford. And, just sometimes when you go from a bad team to a good team, you leave all of the bad things behind you. And and in this case, the injuries. I think, being on a good team is going to help McCaffrey, obviously, go out there and take care of his business. But the thing is like now just the thought of having McCaffrey and Debo Samuel out on the field at the same time has definitely got to be a spark to this Niners offense and definitely a spark to this fan base as well. Now, on the flip side for the Carolina Panthers, obviously this team is in rebuild mode. We've seen them already trade Robbie Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals this week, and now it's sending Christian McCaffrey to San Francisco. And at the end of the day, you think about all of the draft capital that Carolina gave up to get the likes of Sam Darnold, bringing in a guy like Baker Mayfield, two quarterbacks where it has not worked out. And if you're Scott Fitterer, the Panthers general manager, you're just trying to recoup some of that draft capital that you lost. Obviously, you weren't the guy making these moves before. You did bring in Baker Mayfield, but nonetheless, Matt Rule is gone as head coach. So this team is definitely going in a new direction, and they're basically starting over from scratch. And when you start over from scratch, you need as much draft capital going forward as far as doing your rebuild. But getting back to San Francisco, you gotta love this move. It's kind of like playing chess. And now, if you're Kyle Shanahan, you get another key piece out there where you can line them up at receiver, you can line them up at running back, and wow, the Niners, I think, are really going to do some good things, especially once McCaffrey gets his footing and once they get some guys back from the injury mark. It's a situation where I think this team is really going to be loaded and really ready to do some things in the postseason. So, of course, San Francisco, they passed on some of their future draft picks, but at the end of the day, they feel that McCaffrey is the guy that can get them where they want to be right now. And let's see how things work out for McCaffrey as he heads to the Bay Area with the Niners. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.